there are these things called oxalates. They're little crystals that can form. They can cause anything from gastro distress to kidney stones to arthritic joints, to brain fog. There are a whole number of repercussions of eating those. And it's probably okay if we're eating them in small quantities, but in a vegan diet, you're not going to be eating them in small quantities. You're probably loading up the spinach, right? You're loading up on the chia seeds. And, there's 100 grams in a tablespoon of oxalates in a tablespoon of those seeds. And then you'll have, say, 1,000 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams in a big serving of spinach. Well, this is probably 10 times what you should be having in oxalates in a day.
These studies show that the more fruits and vegetables you eat, the better your health outcomes, and the more you eat, the lower your cancer rates are, and all these sorts of things. But those are a bit disingenuous too, aren't they? Because they're not comparing it's not that you're replacing meat with fruits and vegetables, is it?
No. So they're not taking the carbs out of the question. They're not taking the bad elements of the diet out of the question. And there are also epidemiological studies that are probably, taken with a grain of salt, because they're probably inaccurate. Now, I'm not saying that vegetables don't have some benefits. I think they do. And they clearly have some vitamins and minerals. I think you can also get very, very good nutrition from animal source foods with just a few vegetables, or even no vegetables.
But at the same time, I don't begrudge people eating this stuff. It's just, I just want them to understand, you don't have to. It's not, it's not like, well, I don't mind eating the salad, but it's not that you don't have to. It's just, hey, this can be a problem. And even the people acknowledging, well, yes, but there may be a hormetic benefit. If it's poisonous, maybe a microdose of that poison could be hormetic, right? Well, not everything is hormetic. Some things just are bad. And so, but if it were hormetic, it is a small dose. And then after that small dose, you get damage, right? So you really need to quantify that. And no one's doing that.
And they had done studies, a few studies that said there's really no evidence, for instance, for eating loads of plants prevents cancer. So we only have small epidemiological subsets of those studies, but that particular study didn't show it. The WHO study, which everyone uses to damn meat, is the 2015 study, which came out with the conclusion that red meat was probably carcinogenic, and processed red meat is definitely carcinogenic. But there's so many debunks of that WHO study, examining why it's led to the wrong conclusions, why it was badly done, why the evidence can't be trusted. And in fact, the most damning thing I heard said was Dr. David Klurfeld of the USDA, who had taken part in the study. He'd been one of the 15 scientists doing it. He said it was the most uncomfortable, awful experience of his professional life, because he saw the evidence being skewed. He saw good studies, important studies being thrown out, and weak epidemiology being used as a basis for these grand claims.